Up with KREM begins now.
7 a.m. on our Thursday morning. This morning, the death toll is climbing from yesterday's windstorm, and power is still out for thousands of homes.
Yet the whole thing caved in instantly with no noise.
Well, up ahead, we hear from people who lost nearly everything in the storm.
And we're taking a look at an incredibly beautiful sunrise this morning following yesterday's storm. And the storm is the reason we're so beautiful this morning. I'll explain. And we have Joshua Robinson out in the field for us today, showing us the state of our city early on this morning.
Yeah, Jeremy, as the sun is coming up this morning, everyone waking up to get a closer look at the damage that was left behind by that storm that hit just over 24 hours ago. All morning long here on Up with KREM, I'm going to be driving around the area, taking a look at some of those sights and sounds, those shocking scenes. We'll tell you all about it this morning.
And Mayor Nadine Woodward says the city looks like a war zone.
I think it's a hard hit for everybody, right? I mean, we've all been through an incredible 2020.
Well, up ahead, she tells us the state of the city and what is being done now to help the community. Thanks so much for being with us here on Up with KREM. I'm Jen York. We begin today with breaking news. Miners are trapped underground in a North Idaho mine. This is at the Galena Mine Complex. Nicole Hernandez is joining us live in Wallace. Now, you spoke with experts this morning. Tell us more about the situation there.
Yeah, Jen, so they did say that the good news is the miners aren't in any immediate danger at this point because they do have food, they have fresh air, they have fresh water. But the biggest thing is that, of course, they've been trapped now for about 24 hours, completely overnight and everything. That's because when power went out in the windstorm yesterday morning is when they lost the ability to come up back to surface level here outside of the mine. So they did not tell us how many miners are down there, but they did say that some of them decided to make the trek up to surface level. This is a shaft mine that goes thousands of feet into the ground. So some of the people that decided they were strong enough to get out did make the trek. They climbed all the way up and got out of the mine, but others decided that they wanted to wait out the power outage here. So last we heard of Vista said that their estimate was to get power back up by 5 a.m. to get these miners up and out, but obviously we're coming up now just past 7 a.m. so it's been past 2 hours past that estimated time now, but we'll make sure to bring you any updates as soon as we get them. In Wallace, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
Yeah, Nicole, of course, looking like a developing situation there. Of course, we'll continue to track that this morning here on Up with KREM. Back here locally this morning, 2 people are dead and thousands of homes are still without power following yesterday's historic windstorm. So this morning we do have team coverage. Joshua Robinson is covering widespread damage here in Spokane. Jeremy Legoo is tracking the forecast with a big change in our temperatures. And Dana Marie McNichol is showing us the storm from your perspective. So if you want to share a picture or video with us, you can text it to 509-448-2000. Getting right to our weather forecast, Jeremy, what are we looking at?
You know, it's a unique start to the day. You don't often get a sunrise like what we are seeing early on this morning. Something like this has to happen following a storm. Notice how right down along the horizon, let's go ahead and take this full, you can see that strip of orange down there. That strip of orange is actually debris and particle in the atmosphere from yesterday's windstorm. Notice that stark difference between the blue overhead and the orange down on the horizon. That's from sinking air. That's from our high pressure overhead that chased yesterday's storm in. And that is why it is so incredibly beautiful. 27 degrees, though, is our temperature. It is quite chilly as we kick things off early on this morning. And for those of you without power, you don't need me to tell you that. Those cooler temperatures come from our clear skies overhead and our lack of wind. 18 degrees in Deer Park, 23 in Coeur d'Alene, 28 in Sandpoint, and 28 in Pullman as well. That's a big drop from where we were this time yesterday. 13 degrees cooler here in Spokane, 23 degrees cooler than where you were this time yesterday in Deer Park. We're going to hang on to those clear skies as we scoot on through the day. Might see a couple passing clouds, but that's about it. Not until tomorrow morning do we see our next chance of moisture move into the region. Could start out as a bit of a wintry mix for us here in Spokane, but I'll turn over to rain as temperatures warm back up above freezing as we get into the latter hours of the morning. Later on today, Jen, temps in the upper 30s. Oh, excuse me, Joshua. But on a chilly morning, Joshua is outside bringing us the latest.
Hey, Jeremy, one of the sights that we saw yesterday coming from yesterday's windstorm was that shocking image of a tree crashing its way through the roof into a home. When you see an image like that, and we're going to show it for you this morning, when you see something like that, it's tough to imagine that anybody would able to get out of bed safely, and we have good news to report this morning that that is what happened, that no one involved in that incident was harmed in any serious way. But we want to let you know that these dangerous winds, as we look at that image, basically snapped a tree in half. Behind us, you can see it is a quiet, dark house right now. Tough to see if any activity is going on. You can kind of hear the sound of a generator going on in the background, but right now, very quiet here this morning. The tree itself collided through the house near the back side of this home, so even from the street level, we're not going to be able to see exactly how it happened. But if you've seen that image, it is shocking. And of course, that all happened, as we mentioned, as that tree dangerously darted its way through the roof in between a couple lying in bed yesterday morning, taking a nosedive into their bedroom. As first responders described that impact as a large lawn dart landing in the center of the room. And our own Tim Pham talked with the woman's son yesterday, who basically said he'd never heard anything like his dad's reaction yesterday morning, never seen a sight like that before, and was worried that as he watched it basically go right in between his own mother's armpit, pinning her skin, he worried for the worst. But of course, he says now today there were no broken bones, and that's Eli Henson who said that, saying that the tree limb landed between them, nearly missing his dad. They did think that his mom might lose her arm, as I mentioned, but doctors say the tree did not hit any vital organs, and firefighters basically had to use chainsaws to get that scene under control, to get that tree off of her. Now, throughout the morning, there are plenty of scenes and stories throughout the Inland Northwest that we're going to be tracking this morning, so stay tuned right here on Up with KREM. I'll be taking you around the Inland Northwest to take a closer look. Back to you.
All right, Joshua, thank you. And stay warm out there, 27 degrees. I know, so thank you to all of our linemen as well, and crews working overnight in bitter cold temperatures to restore power. 7:07 now. This morning, crews again are working to restore power to thousands of homes. At the height of yesterday's storm, more than 100,000 homes across the region lost power. Now, right now, a little less than 50,000 Avista customers are still without power. Overnight, crews work to get the lights back on, but crews say they are focusing on fire, police, and emergency needs first, and then we'll move to transmission lines. Assessments may take 24 hours or more, but crews say it could take some days in some cases. And coming up at 7:30, what you can do to survive without power for several days. Inland Power and Light is reporting nearly 8,000 outages this morning. To report an outage or a down power line, you can call the number that you see there at the bottom of your screen. Meanwhile, Kootenai Electric is reporting about 7,500 outages. Those stretch from the Coeur d'Alene area up to Bayview. And at last check, Vera Water and Power has 800 customers without power, but that was as of 8 last night. Crews did work through the night there, but crews say customers need to be prepared for extended outages. Of course, those numbers can change quickly. For updates, you can text outages to 509-448-2000, and we will send you links to the outage maps right to your phone. All right, here at 7:08 this morning, several schools are closed as a result of yesterday's storm. Still closed today, the Coeur d'Alene Public School District, Spokane Public Schools, Cheney, Medical Lake, and Freeman. On remote learning, Evergreen Elementary in the Meade School District. It is the one building in that district that is still without power this morning, so it's moving operations online. And the Central Valley School District is expected to make a decision this morning on whether or not it will resume classes. All right, this morning, first responders say 2 people died in the windstorm. That's a story we first brought you yesterday. Spokane Fire says a woman died after a tree fell on her car. And authorities also say a Post Falls man died when a tree hit his car on Highway 97. And that windstorm pummeled houses all across the region. Taking a look at damage this morning, we do want to take a look at a tree branch that pierced a roof and nearly impaled a sleeping couple. Look at that. Yeah, if you're not looking at your screen, whew. Well, their son says the limb landed in between his parents. He says it pinned his mom down, but she is expected to be okay. Firefighters actually had to use a chainsaw to lift the tree off of her and then take her to the hospital. The family says it's nothing short of a miracle.
I think we were a little shocked at first. I mean, I think we all thought we might have lost our mom for a second there, you know. So it was a little scary, but I mean, I think God was protecting her. And yeah.
Well, the family was worried that woman might lose her arm, but doctors say that limb missed her vital organs. There's another look at that tree. Unbelievable. Well, also in North Idaho, a homeowner woke up to trees yesterday littering his yard, but he says when he looked out a window, one shot right through the glass. Take a look at what's left.
Because that's quite a shock when you have the whole roof cave in on you.
The whole thing caved in instantly with no noise.
Well, he says most of his items are destroyed. All right, the city of Spokane is going to provide free disposal of trees and tree limbs from the storm. Starting next week, tree debris can be placed in green yard waste carts for pickup, and that will be on your normal garbage pickup day. Debris must be contained in the carts for that special service, and debris outside the carts will not be collected. Branches must be smaller than 3 inches in diameter and fit within the cart. Also, we talked to Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward this morning. She said starting tomorrow, the waste to energy facility will be taking tree debris as well, and that will be free, and that will be free for the remainder of January as well.
Yesterday's wind speeds matched those we saw in 2015, but there are still some differences between the two windstorms. We'll explore those this morning and also compare our footage of the two storms.
And when it comes to those two storms, both recorded a 71-mile-per-hour wind gust. And coming up after the break, we're going to break down just what made those two storms different and how the weather is going to affect cleanup in the coming days.